Hello again. This is episode 2 of showcasing my project. Today I'm going to talk about my thought process and the logic that kind of went into solving this problem of sending emails. But before I get into that, I want to continue off the previous episode, the demo episode, for a bit because I ran out of time and I wasn't able to talk about where my code broke as well as what I've learned. Now, as for how it broke, um, when you sent me that second EML file, I couldn't download the direct EML file from my Outlook email, so I forwarded it to my Gmail. However, through the forwarding process, it appears that the format of the headers has changed because when you forward a email, the address of the email that you're forwarding becomes like the main address, I believe, or something like that. But what I noticed is that when I put the second EML file, the forwarded EML file, through the email processor, the position of the headers, such as the library email, the library contact number, the library's email, as well as your email, uh, were were shifted and instead replaced with my contact or my email. So in the future, to solve that issue, I would create a separate case for forwarded emails, uh, which would use Beautiful Soup to discern the location of the library contact information, which was buried deeper into the EML file. Anyway, as for things I've learned, I think I've learned a ton, and it's been a really fun experience because this is really my first time going into um, emails and whatnot, and I mean email files and HTML specifically. At first, I thought it was really daunting, like looking at the sheer amount of data in the email file was really it was really intimidating, I'd say. But after a lot of learning, I guess I was reading the documentation for the email parser library, Beautiful Soup library, and whatnot, HTML. But I even shifted through a couple libraries, and there's some refactoring here. But ultimately, I think it was really cool. I think I learned a lot from this. I also learned a lot about like a more wholesome piece of software. Like developing a more wholesome piece of software because in my prior experiences, like my side projects and whatnot, typically I'm only exposed to like one Python script that takes the input of financial data and outputs market results from that investment strategy. So this is it's kind of a step in the kind of like a step in unknown territory for me, and I think it's really exciting, and I can't wait to learn more. But yeah, oh, all right. Now going into the episode 2 portion. Um, when solving this problem of reminding the user to return their books, I initially kind of took it apart from a need and a benefit basis. Now, now what I mean by needs is that the user needs to be reminded about returning their books, and that is accomplished via the use cases. Now, for benefits, that entails going above and beyond just reminding them via an email. And that's kind of where I want to flesh out my project in the future. I believe that like just sending an email like this does not really fit the needs of the user or every user. I mean, because say if some person doesn't check their emails often, they might prefer a text instead. Or for example, this file is pretty and accessible to the everyday person. So in the future, if I was given more time, I would learn how to create a very user-friendly GUI and perhaps create an API for their Gmail account, which would automatically access their account and obtain the email files, and they'll be able to customize the type of notifications they want. So not only can they get like email reminders or email reminders like late reminders, they can also get information such as how much like how many books they have taken out. And for that, I would like to create a MySQL server where I would store the book information and library information, I guess, from every email received from the Cedar Rapids Public Library, or even include other library receipts too. Perhaps create a sort of dictionary where you have libraries and whatnot, and their associated book data. Anyway, that's getting into the more technical stuff. But ultimately, here, I think this is about 20% of what I want this project to be. In the end, I want to be able to give the user as much control and as much information as they could possibly want or find beneficial to them. And that's why in the future, I would incorporate a text function, storage function for book data, as well as retrieval functions for that data, as well as a user-friendly GUI, so they don't have to dig through code to access notifications or to modify them. And finally, I would also, what did I say, database? Yeah, I would create the MySQL database. But yeah, that would be pretty much what I would want the product to be.